Kosia.
Edward.
All right. So, what are some of the changes that you see in our society?
Okay, thank you very much. But one thing I've realized or have discovered in society is that society seems to be shifting from the um, the communal system, sort of the extended family system, to more of the nuclear, more of individualistic now. And I I think that one cause of that is, you know, people are trying to, I mean, during the communal system, right? It requires of one person to take care of a lot of people in the home, but scaling it down to just the nuclear system or just the individualistic system, it takes off the stress and the kind of huge responsibilities that used to be on people. And also one thing I've realized is that women are taking more roles these days in society. When you go to the corporate areas and all that, you realize that women are taking leadership roles, and men are kind of gradually sitting back. So yeah, these are some of, yeah.
All right. So, what would you say the dynamics in our society and economy is causing? Would you say that the dynamics in society and economy are causing a change in people's lives?
Um, yes, I believe so, because of course the lives of people, the attitudes and personalities of people are to a very large extent shaped by society in which we live in. And so, you know, society being dynamic and all that means that people, of course, would, you know, adjust or respond to such changes in society. For instance, like I mentioned, women are taking more roles
Mm.
in 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 society, leadership roles in society. Back in the day, women were not seen to be leaders in society. Women
Right.
didn't. Women were always sitting back and watching the men do this.
Mm-hmm.
But like so relating it to the economy, for instance, you know, families want to make money
Mm-hmm.
and all that. So it is not wise to let the man alone strive and struggle out there to come up with, you know, to earn a living for the home and all that. And so society has caused it that women should also work, go out there and work, and then earn something, bring it home, add it to that of the man,
Mm-hmm.
and then the family is very well to do now. So yeah, I think these are some of the dynamics that is causing a change in the lives of people. Yeah.
That's amazing. I think that is so true that like just in more in our generation now,
Mm-hmm.
it's like more women are taking more roles,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like right now we're actually kind of working more.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some families that like women are actually, it seemed like a competition, but I don't want to use the word competition, but like women are gaining more money and taking more roles. It's not just like previously where it would be like, oh, you stay home. It's funny how before in the generation a man will give birth to two people, a male and a female, and the female has to stay home, you take up the kitchen duties and all of that. But now, the man has to go for it, because at the long run, they think the man is just supposed to be all that. So I think it's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
important.
And one effect of that is, back in the day when women were always sitting back, working in the kitchen and all that, women used to be very, always called in. They don't answer back, or they don't talk back to their husbands whenever they are, their husbands are talking to them. But now that they are also taking up roles and taking up positions of the men, it has caused women to kind of develop some kind of wings, yeah, that for the want of a better word, that causes them to, talk back to their husbands and, men in society. So, yeah, so it has the demand of society whereby, families are expected to, earn enough living for themselves has caused women to take up roles that is causing them not to call back to their shelves, but then, become very aggressive, not aggressive in that sense, but become,
Assertive.
assertive,
I know
exactly.
when you talk about the ways, you don't actually,
Yeah.
you don't mean like,
And
we are
not
kind
wins,
of.
but I mean, they become sort of authoritative as well, just like we know of how men are very authoritative. Women have also become that kind of
I mean, in a
authoritative.
family, you definitely want to have,
Yeah.
women to have their own opinion because
Mm,
it's not just one individual running the whole family.
right.
And so it's so important that now women are able to also
Yeah.
express themselves,
Yeah.
and help in decision making too.
Yeah.
So now it's like, the bet is not just on you
Yeah.
guys, we all share. Yeah. So that's one thing that it is. But I want us to talk about what are some of the ways that society can impact a person's personality or character? This is our main topic for this month, and we really want to talk about how the society or the social environment is affecting our character.
Yeah, I think this, like you said, this forms kind of the core of this discussion. Um, society shapes, like I said earlier, society shapes
Yeah.
our personality and our
True.
attitudes. And so, as we mentioned earlier, anytime there's a change in society, humans naturally are caused to respond to those changes.
True.
And so, yeah, so to your question specifically, what are some of the ways person's personality affect, or is that a question?
What are the ways that society can impact our personality?
Ways society can impact our personality.
Yeah, like the changes happening. So like we were just talking about the dynamics.
Yeah, so we can use that example as well. The demand that women also have to work and support their husbands. Like we agreed on, it has caused women to become kind of, very assertive in their homes and all that. And so, yeah, so I think these are some of the ways. And for the men, on the part of the men, I would say that it has. I mean, I stand to be correct, or someone might disagree with me on this, but
Always
to,
there'll be
to,
someone to disagree.
of course, to some extent, it has caused men to also relax. You agree with me? That's caused men to relax a little
And
bit.
I feel like now it's making women be like, okay, so you also do this. Like they're kind of sitting back on their. I mean, not that before they were supposed to do all things, but now it's more. It's like they're feeling more comfortable, and it's like okay, I can actually sit down and just watch them also do that.
Yeah, at least, I mean, it depends on the culture. At least from where we come from, we know that back in the day, men were the ones working and paying all the bills at home, and women were just the caretakers of the home and all that. But now that women are also working and earning a living, men are kind of relaxed because he knows that, okay, well, I'm taking care of the bill, the rent. My wife is taking care of groceries and all that. So all I need for the month is maybe 2,000. I'm done. However, I'm gonna feed myself. It depends on my wife. It causes them to become a bit relaxed, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah. So
But
that's on the part of
I
the
want to
men.
ask a question about that. But okay, so I'm getting a little personal here. Okay, so let's get a little personal. So personally to you, like how with like you just said back on that culture. I know now it's kind of different here, but let's just talk about that culture.
Right.
Because you're still a Ghanaian, I'm still a Ghanaian. Yeah. So like, did that somehow bother you? Was that somehow like a burden, or did you feel like why must that be that way, or did you ever feel compelled like why must I be the one to to work, struggle, and all of that, and feed the home, the family, and all of that? Did you ever feel any kind of?
I don't think. Well, like you said, culture has changed. Society has changed. But back in the day, I don't think men had that problem.
I'm talking about
because
personal.
oh, personally with me,
Yeah.
personally, I don't think it's a problem, as long as my wife is playing her role as a woman of the house, doing what is expected of her, and I'm also expected to do this at home. I mean, it's like in economics, division of labor. Do yours, I do mine, and that's it. We are done. So I don't come to your territory I don't come to do your work for you. You also don't do my work for me.
With that being said, if you are the woman out there, just know, you don't have to worry. He got he understands the culture, so
But that is
care.
not the situation now, though. It has changed. Women are expected to work too, so yep.
Right. So
that's
now,
dynamics.
so comparing that to now, like, do you feel like now, it's
yeah, like
more
I said,
better now?
Like I said, it kind of taking off some burden from the men as well.
So you're enjoying it.
Yeah. So that has caused a situation whereby men are also expected to do a lot at home.
That's actually something I was gonna point
right.
to.
Yeah.
Yes, it has created that. So now women are also not, as we used to see, women are supposed to do every chore in the house and all that. But now, like I said, it's become more of we all put our hands on deck and then make sure it's done as it's supposed to be. So you go to work, you make some money, you come home, probably there's no food at home. I come home earlier, I can cook and all that, So balance is the equation. Yeah. So
Don't enjoy that.
Yeah.
No, I'm clapping because there's still some men that feel like even though you go to work, you get off earlier than your wife, and you come home, you will still wait for your wife to come home to cook for you, even if she'll get home way later than you. I mean, there are some families that works for them, like because that's how they have said it, But then it's like, okay, so if she comes home later than me and she's tired, am I going to sit here hungry until she comes? So I'm clapping for him because he believes in the
society has caused me, like we are talking, society has caused me to think that way.
Because society is changing.
Exactly.
You,
That's the point. That's the whole point.
So before, if society wasn't like this before, then you would expect that you go to work, you come back, and your wife
food
has
is supposed to be on my table.
food is served on your table. But now because it's changed.
No. I mean, it's fine as long as my wife is supporting financially. You get it. So that's it.
So well, then that means all the men out there, you need to learn how to cook.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily cooking, but at least help something at home. Cleaning.
Yeah, true. I mean, so I know we've talked about how it has impacted men, but how has it also impacted? How has the behaviors and characters? Like, I want us to talk about now. Personally, your turn. It's getting a little personal here.
Oh wow. Okay.
Has it also impacted women's character and their personality?
I mean, I would say, as he was saying before, as how women have become more assertive, because as he was saying before, women were coiled in. It's like you don't talk back, you don't do this, you don't do this. But it's like now, I don't want to say it's like, okay, now we're equal, so I can do whatever I want type of thing. But it's more like, it seems like you now have more of courage or confidence to voice your opinion, because it's like now your opinion seems more valuable because you are also bringing in, like, you're bringing to the table. So it's like now your opinion is valuable. So now you can actually voice your opinion. Now you can do certain things that maybe before you would be like, okay, like, I don't bring anything to the table, so I should just go with what is happening.
Exactly.
But now it's like, okay, I'm also bringing something. So let's say if it's a certain bill, or you want to buy a house or something, right? This, because both of our money, it's like we're both working towards that. So it's a discussion between the two, rather than husband goes and buys a house and then tells you, I bought a house, we're moving here, right? It's like, okay, we're discussing, we want to get a house, a place that is going to be convenient for the two of us and stuff like that. That's how I'm seeing it.
So the home becomes more of a democratic society. Everybody has a say.
True.
As compared to back in the day when it was more of authoritative and autocratic. The man says it and that's it.
That's it.
Right. So I think these are some of the.
Yeah, and I think that is so true. It actually kind of creates the environment for the young children to also learn from that, because compared to before, and it goes back to our culture, where if me and my so
because so husband, future.
Your parents, so between your parents, it's always the man, that, and your mom does not really have to say all of that. If you have kids and you have a daughter and a son, that is gradually that is what they become to. So the man, the boy feels the responsibility, like, you know, this is how I'm supposed to be, right? And so it's like from generation to generation. But seeing these changes now, women, you know, the young children, females are also learning to, you know, take up responsibilities and become So it's actually helping, because then before, the young females will always feel like, you know, I don't even have to go to school to that extent, you know.
Exactly, that's
yeah,
true.
Because I can get married.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a man that's gonna come in. But now she knows that you have to work, you have to contribute to the house, you know, you have to help build the home. So now, that is important. But I also want us to compare these two, because I know having these discussions, there will be believers that will be like, oh no, you know, women are supposed to be that. It's not okay for, you know, all this shared responsibility and all of that. It's, I mean, I know sometimes we add culture and all of that to it, but I want us to have that discussion, you know, comparing with how, you know, some believers will think that, no, it's not appropriate for a woman to have a say, you know, and all of that. Because there are, I know you're a believer, you might not think of it that way, but there are there are some believers that feel like, no, that is not how it's supposed to be. You know, you're supposed to stop me, you're supposed to bow down, you're supposed to be that kind of way. Do you see that difference? Do you see that being, you know, something going on, like an issue?
You mean in the church set? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, like in the Christian community, that, you know, some people actually feel that kind of way, that, oh no, you know, what we are talking about right now, like they feel like, no, that is so wrong for you to think that way as a believer. Like, do you feel that way? Do you think of it as?
No, I don't think of it that way. I mean, in as much as women are expected to be submissive to their husbands, does not mean they should be seen as
slaves, or
I mean, slave sounds like a stronger word.
I know.
They should be seen as people who do not have a say in the homes. I don't think that's right. Well, the Bible makes us understand that women should be submissive to their husbands, and husbands should love their wives and all that. And so, of course, as an individual, if you love your wife, why would you treat your wife as a slave? You know, and so I don't buy into that. The point is, women have a say in the homes, and so they should be treated as, you know, as a helper not as a subordinate.
That gets us back to the next question. Go ahead.
Yeah, maybe as a junior colleague, so to speak, but not as a subordinate. The man shouldn't feel superior to the wife. In no circumstance should a man feel superior to the wife. And so I don't agree with that. Definitely, women should have a say.
I think what it is sometimes there are people that take, what is it? Like there are some words in the Bible that people take out of context. So because the Bible says, wives, be submissive to your husband, a man, not every man, but you know, there will be a man that will feel like, it doesn't matter what I say, it doesn't matter what I do, that's final, that's it, and all you can do is just say yes. And move on. But that's not how it's meant to be. I mean, yes, women are meant to be submissive, as in, even if you want to give your opinion, you are not going to stand up, like, you know, and, you know, give your opinion. You will still, like, you know, I don't want to say like in a feminine way, but in a submissive way, and still, because the man is still the head of your house. So you would still like, you know, give your opinion, but you're not going to try to take the pants of the house, in a way, because I guess that's where some women also go wrong in the whole. Maybe they think that, okay, because I'm making money or something like that, I now wear pants. I now wear the pants in the house. So now they can talk over their husband. So if they have had a discussion, they want their word to be the final word. They want everything to be their way, rather than like a what's the word? A cohort, maybe no, a collective, a collective decision. So it's like sometimes it ends up being like this. It's like butting heads, because the man wants to, like, the man is the head. the woman wants to be up there, but we're called to be submissive. So submit under your husband. But then some men are like, trying to suppress you and stuff like. So I guess it's a two-way street in a way.
Yeah, but I don't think the church frowns upon the idea that women should,
No. That is just the perspective of some
people in
right?
church. Okay, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Not even in like church, just like
Even in our societies,
some might be
people with the
believers, but not
primitive-
even
primitive mindset
Yeah.
think that women should always be very submissive
Right.
and should always, in Ghana, oh, Mira, those kind of
My lord.
yeah, my lord,
My
my
lord.
lord. But
My Lord.
I mean, that's a cake.
Right before that. So if you are still watching, this is Empowerment Hour, and today we are talking about personality and character, but our focus is on how society and the social environment has impacted our personality. So before that, I wanted to ask, Priscilla was saying something about how, some men just want to be like, my like, you would just be like, oh yes, you being the man will always make the decision and say stuff, and your wife will always be okay. Like, how
Yes,
would
my
you
lord.
feel? How would you feel if you are always the one, making decisions? You are always the one giving out instructions and all of that, and I'm always, yes, please, yes, please.
How would I feel as
Yes,
a person
yes.
personally? Well, I wouldn't feel good about that because you married a woman to support you, to help you, in terms of no individual is a repository of knowledge. As a man, you don't have everything in your head, so of course you need
Sure.
your wife to support you and all that. So if I treat my wife like that, well, my conscience wouldn't allow me to do that in the first place. Yeah, my conscience wouldn't allow me. So you want to seek my personal view, right?
Yeah.
Some other guy might have a different view,
I mean, true.
and want it that way. But personally, I wouldn't. Even if my wife is like that naturally, I would try to empower her.
Yeah.
Don't try to call yourself into your shell like that. We are married. It doesn't mean you're a slave
Right.
to somebody. So yeah, I wouldn't do that to my wife. Anyway.
It comes back to before when you were talking, you made mention of a word that I still badly want us to talk about here. The helper. The helper, quote.
Okay.
The helper word. So, how do you feel about, the Bible, how in the Bible we talk about the helper? And I think when we come to the society and in our community, I don't know how, but people perceive that in a very different way. I don't know. I want to know how you feel about it, that as women perceive as helpers. Like, how do you actually understand it, and in what context do you use that word?
Helper. Helper is just a basic definition. Helper is someone who or something that will, of course, help you achieve your cause or your goals. And so what with regards to this particular statement, I see women as, like I said early on, you come into the life of a man to support him. The men are always seen as they know everything. That's how it has been. Men are you're a man. You're supposed to man up and do this and do that. But sometimes, you lack certain things in terms of making decisions and all that. And women are gifted with certain things. For instance, managing the home. And it's often said that women know how to manage, finances at home than men do. And so, I see women as being helpers in the sense that they are into the lives of men to help them achieve their goals in life. Advise them in times of need, and make a man as a whole. So yeah, pretty much.
What do you think of it, first?
I mean, I also believe a woman is meant to be a helper. So side by side, we're working side by side. And I guess, as the saying goes, behind every successful man, there's a woman that, that was pushing him. So I would say that that's what we're meant. Even if we're not seen at the forefront of, doing everything, we're still the, I don't want to use the word backbone to say that men don't have a backbone without a woman. but I'm just saying as in like we're the supporter. So if anything, if you see that a decision is not going as maybe he would have thought or something, you can speak up, say, okay, maybe it will work better this way. Or, there are some things that we women can do that men cannot. Or there are some places where we can fill in where men lack. So that's where I feel like that's where we're not as a slave or not as, a lackey just to be doing everything, but to help. So fill in where he lacks. And at the same time, he also fills in where you lack. So it's just like I guess you're filling his rib that is missing to support him stand up.
Yeah. Do you want to add something to that?
I mean, she said it all. I mean, pretty much. The saying goes that behind every successful man there is a praying woman, and so yeah, even in our Christian lives, sometimes men are seem to be more casual in life. The approach to life. Men are seem to be for instance, a young guy who is unmarried, they seem to be should I say wretched, or sometimes does not dress well, does not clean his room, and all that. But as soon as he gets married, a woman comes into his life, everything changes and all that. So yeah, that aspect alone tells you that a woman is in your life to help you progress in life. Yeah.
But I really want us to talk about this. I feel like how people perceive that word, and I know there are a lot of women that are going to be like, what are you talking about with that? I'm so huge on women empowerment. Yes.
I see that.
Yes. I'm so huge on that. But I totally disagree with the fact that, some feminists and a lot of people are just, impacting this idea into a lot of women's head that, oh, no, you are not supposed to be considered as a helper and all of that. But when it comes to, I just want to read this verse. I don't want to say it over that people are going to be like, although I don't have the Bible with me, but yeah, it's not my word. It's just from the Bible. So, John 14:16 says, I will pray that the Father, he will bring you another helper. And John 14:20 says that, but the helper, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, he will teach you all things and bring to your remembrance all things that I have said to you. Saying this, I want to quote another verse from Genesis 2:18. And the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helper comparable to him. So, these two verses where, the Bible is talking about the helper referring to the Holy Spirit, and the Bible is talking about the helper referring to the woman. Like, I don't know about you, but to me, like, before it was, all these feminist, speeches and all of that would probably get into my head. I'm like, what is that? But when I came to understand this, like, it made me feel more powerful, like, ooh, the Bible is actually equating, the Holy Spirit to a woman. And, thank you. And so, just like the Bible says, when the Holy Spirit comes, he is going to teach you all things. And he's going to be your comforter. In other verses, he refers to the Holy Spirit as the comforter. And so it comes back to being a woman. You'll be in a man's life, okay? You are actually the Holy Spirit that is supposed to help him, do things that he cannot do on his own, okay? You also, and, it's not for that women are good at remembering things more than...
I mean, yeah.
I mean, not
scientifically,
all men,
it is proven that women are even...
And even
children
here,
inherent intelligence from their moms. So
and even here, when you equate it back to John 14:20, it says when he's talking about the Holy Spirit, he says, and bring to your remembrance all things that I have said to you. So with me like equating what the Bible says about the Holy Spirit and then with the woman, it's just not for that women are able to remember. And so, like, we should not just feel of ourselves being, this helper thing being a huge big deal, but we are there to help them achieve things that they cannot do on their own. Just like, the Bible tells you the Holy Spirit is going to help you to do things. And we all know, as believers, we know that there were things that we cannot possibly do. We don't have the strength to do. But the moment you have the Holy Spirit in you, grown in you, you are able to, do things. You are able to do things that your strength can possibly never, ever do.
Yeah.
So let's just not, look at it as, this helper thing, all these feminists TikTok and all of this getting so much into us, and we just rising up, and it's like we are not supposed to compete. We are not supposed to compete with them. It's actually the empowerment. It's actually supposed to help us to stand on our own. Be able to help ourselves, take our responsibility, just like we are talking about right now. How we taking our responsibility and all that, help up, bring up a home, build a home. And so that's how it's supposed to be. Not that, I'm called a helper, and I hate to be called a helper. Like,
I want to be the leader.
I want to be the leader. You can be a leader on your own. Yes, God created you to be, that great person. He has a specific purpose for you and all of that. But it's not for you to compete with a man that, why are they saying men are that? And so I want to be in that position competing with a man. Be your own woman, that great woman that you're created to be.
Can I ask a question? Now, I want to be the host for a second.
No, it's not allowed here. It's not allowed here, but
so then,
we can talk about this.
So how do we take the statement or the expression that whatever a man can do, a woman can do and do it better? How do you see that?
that is a statement that I know most feminists, also say. But in my own way, I don't use that statement that way.
You don't use it that way? I
don't use it that way. I look at it just like I said. Women are supposed to, just like the Holy Spirit is supposed to help you, do things, accomplish things, and work in the purpose, and do things that you can possibly never do. This is how I look at it. Right. And so, with us using that statement, I look at it as, if I'm coming to your life, I'm going to help you to do things that you could not.
So the woman is playing the role of the Holy Spirit in this sense.
Hallelujah.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. So is your question answered?
Yeah.
Well, I gave you the opportunity to be the host, but that's it.
I want to say that for me, in the sense of, I want to say kind of like how Liz was saying that, in the sense of what a man can do, anything you can do, I can do better. I want to say it's not necessarily anything you can do, I can do better, but what you can't do, I can help you do.
That's right.
That's how I would take it. So what you lack, I have.
Yes.
That's how I would take it. Not anything you can do, I can do better. I mean, there's a chance that there's something that you can do that I can probably do better, but that's not what I'm saying. I mean, maybe I can do it better because I have more experience in such a thing, or maybe because maybe I have the skills for that. So it's not anything a man can do, a woman can do better. Is filling in where he lacks and stuff like that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that, and I actually meant to make that particular statement that what you cannot do, when we say about what men can do better. No, like it's another huge thing that I feel like it's feeding into a lot of young men's head, and it's like they feel like, oh yeah, and all of that, but it's so bad that we are actually empowering more young women, thinking that I am this, I am that, and I'm in competition with a man and all of that. No, you are actually there to help them. Like you said, what they cannot do, you are actually supposed to be there for them to do it.
Yeah.
And so that statement.
Okay. I feel better now.
How did you feel before?
But how did you feel before? So
it made me feel like women are out there to compete with men.
I mean, I think in some way, and again, with all these, feminists and all of these things, it's actually, somehow, it's actually polluting people's mind.
So we should leave it for the feminists.
Well, no, because you don't want to sit there and just have a whole young generation being polluted. And so what you have to also help out.
Okay.
Just like we talked about it right now, like we are doing right now,
that makes sense.
So young women out there, please, I know a lot of women are going to be like, what are you talking about, Liz? Yeah, but yes, please. I mean, you're going to hate me on this, but yes, please, let's stop this, competition and all of that. No.
A man is a man, a woman is a woman.
A woman is a woman. That does not make us, any less, or that does not make us any, small anything. Like, just feel proud of it. You are actually there to be, like, make sure what he cannot do. Just imagine that. He can't do it, but with me, you can do it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Imagine that let's say if you took all the competition away, let's say in a house, right? A man and his wife, they both work, and the wife tries to, I make more money or something like that, or try to get a better job to make more money, to say that I make more money, or I can say that this is my money so I can do whatever I want. If you put that aside, right, throw that away, and have the woman actually helping, we're both building our home. Imagine how beautiful that would be compared to competing all the time.
Yeah.
Because when you're
Exactly.
competing all the time and you feel like, oh, my, like, I'm making this money so I can do whatever I want with it, you're going to do whatever you want with it. But if you're coming together and building the home together, imagine what you can have compared to what you would have, like, and imagine the kind of family that you would have. Imagine the kind, like, how you would raise your kids, because you can say that, oh, I'm doing this, but then you would raise, like, in a way you would be raising your kids to, like, with that same mentality, like, a woman doesn't need a man, or, a woman is better than a man, all this stuff, and then they grow up with that kind of mentality and look down on men when they're supposed to be, like, from their rib to be, you know.
So yeah. So the question then is, so the question we ought
You
to
were
ask
asking a lot of
ourselves.
questions.
No, not to you. This is not to you.
Okay.
This is not to you, but
It's
this
okay.
this is just a general. So we ought to ask ourselves. So how then did all these come about? Where from this?
With
Clearly,
these
women
statements.
trying to step up and.
I think, from my own opinion, what I would say is, I think, from generation to generation, when those is like, we talked about previously how, we had all these, primitive thinking, all of
Idea,
that,
right.
where women are supposed to stay home and be in the kitchen, all that. So I think with time, people started thinking of it as, why are we supposed to be so, like, in a way of empowering women to stand up, in a way of building ourselves to actually be able to stand up and not change from that kind of primitive thinking. It came about with people started having that we can do this. I think that is just how it all started.
And it probably got twisted somewhere.
Yes, from that period where women doesn't go to school, and so those who were at least able to, in any situation, there will always be exception, and with those who were at least able to have a little voice, felt like, why should it be this way and all that. And so in a way of empowerment, but it's just that we do it in the wrong way.
Yeah, I think that, like we are discussing, society has caused it that women should take up roles, which is fine.
Yes.
But I feel like, we are abusing that opportunity or that chance. Women tend to seem to be abusing it. The fact that society has allowed women to, or society, the world is moving forward. So it has allowed women to also take up roles and support their husbands. Does not mean you should see yourself as equal to the man at home, and you want to.
Right.
So yeah, basically I see it as an abuse of the opportunity that is being given.
Yeah, and that's why it's important we are talking about this right now, because there's always this, like we just said, people are actually trying to empower more people, but it's just done in the way that it's actually causing, like you were just saying, like how they're abusing. But I don't want to use the word abusing. I do not want to use the word abusing, because I think in some way it's actually important. It's important for women to be able to stand up, but not in a way that we should feel like we are competing or like taking over or something.
I use the word abuse to describe what we have as feminists now. Everything a man does. Feminists are, pretty much opposed to whatever a man says or whatever a man does. So
I personally do not disagree totally, like completely, with all feminists, but it's just that idea, that particular. I'm like I said, I'm so big on women empowerment. Like I'm so big on that. But it just doesn't have to be in that way where we are actually having a whole generation thinking that I have to compete with a man, and that's what is causing more divorces, more a lot of homes, because now I feel like I'm working, I'm making this huge money. We're actually going to talk about this with women actually making more money than men. So I just think it's just done in a way that is not helping. I'm so huge on women empowerment again, but it just doesn't have to be in that way where young women growing up has to think that, oh, I'm in competition with this man and I have to take over, or I have to be the leader over my husband or something.
Yeah. So what I want to understand is, so why are women acting that way? What is causing them?
We just talked about we just talked about that from the same way this primitive from this primitive thinking where women are stuck. And so with me helping you to bring you up, I had to say something to you. Sometimes we want that, like, it's like that shock, that electric shock, that be like, oh yes, why must it be that way? So it's like that is the information that is like me actually trying to empower Kosia. I'm feeding her with all these ideas. That's what she becomes.
Okay.
That's what she becomes. It's what we hear, what we talk about, our imagination, our mind. That is what we become. Okay. And so that is what is happening. It's like from generation to generation. It's going to be a time that, man, you will need to watch out. It's like, yeah. Okay. But that's basically what I think.
I was just going to say that I think it's kind of similar to how the primitive mindset of how some men feel like the submissiveness thing is supposed to be I walk all over you type of thing. So it's like that primitive mindset. I feel like it's that mindset changing for women. I think that's what the feminist thing is. It's like, okay, the men. It's more like learning that, okay, you shouldn't lay down for him to walk all over you, but it's being taken too far
so then the
to the point of now I'm gonna get up. If you try to walk over me, I'll walk over you.
So they feel like they've been taken captive for so long.
So now they're breaking free. So now it's just like it's being taken to an extreme. Rather than to understand that you can stand up for yourself, you can still be submissive and stand up for yourself. Yeah. But it's being taken to extreme to the point where it's more like I stand up for myself, but I'm better than you.
So being taken to the extreme, that's how come I use the word. I think they are abusing that opportunity. I think
now I understand your word.
Now
I understand that word.
Yeah, sure.
Now I understand that.
Sure. Yeah. And I think, like Akosi was just saying, when people feel more, like, pressed and depressed for quite a long time, when they are able to come out free, it's like, yes, like I'm now going to show you,
like
yes,
a prisoner set free, isn't it?
Exactly.
Watch out, world, here I come.
Yes, watch out, world, here I come. So I think that's one. But I we were talking about. I think we actually somehow got to that point where we're talking about women making more money. So I want. Actually, I'm going to be a little personal here again, okay? I want to be more personal here. I want us to talk about how do you personally feel about, with all these women empowerment, and when I say that, I'm talking about, that feminism thing, about how we are supposed to, compete and all of that, take over and all of that. How do you feel about that as a man?
How feel about women taking over, women
like with all these things, with more women being like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to compete with a man, and all of that kind of thing. Like, how do you personally, as a man, how do you feel about that?
To be honest, me, I keep telling people, I keep telling friends that you are created a woman, you are born a woman. You can't cheat nature. There's no way you can. I mean, you can go to school, of course. God has created the brains for you. You can acquire skills, you can acquire the knowledge, but you are still a woman.
In what sense?
That's what I said. Nature, you can't cheat nature. God created you to be a woman. A man will have to marry you. You'd have to get pregnant and make babies.
And a man, you have to marry a woman. A woman has to get pregnant by you and make
yes. So nobody has disputed that. Has anybody disputed that? I mean, men haven't come out to say no, you don't want to impregnate women anymore. Have men said
do not want to impregnate women anymore.
So the point is women will still be women. I personally, I am not moved at all with all those things. I am not moved at all because I keep telling people, whatever you do, you're a woman. A man is also a man. So just stay in your lane. Let's live together and we'll have a peaceful society to live in.
But how do you feel about, women actually like taking up leadership positions in job, like maybe your supervisor and your manager and all of that being a woman and making more money?
Oh, women making more money. For instance, if I'm married to a woman making more money. I don't have
person. First, before your wife, like let's say your superior is a woman and she makes more money than you. That first before your wife.
So let's talk about that first.
Oh, so the first question is my superior.
Yeah, like a woman being a leader over you and all of that.
Okay, yeah, I don't have a problem at all with that. not at all. Like I said, you can. She's gone to school. She's acquired the knowledge she needs. She's acquired the skills she needs. Yeah, she's a leader. So yeah, no problem. Personally, no problem at all. I don't have any
I
qualms
hope
at all.
all men think of it that way.
Yeah.
It's not exactly all men that think of it that way. So
I mean, there will always be some that will be like
exceptions.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there are exceptions where I think that naturally, women, this is my observation, my personal observation. Naturally, women in leadership roles tend to be harsh than men.
Is that true?
Naturally, I don't know if you guys have realized
She want to
that.
be like, no, you know it.
But I mean, it's
From school, I discovered from my days in school, you see a woman being a lead, like a teacher or a leader. You know, yeah, they tend to be very harsh.
More than men.
More than men in leadership roles. That's my personal
I
observation.
feel like it's true to some extent
Extent.
because there are times where women feel like they're not taken seriously if they're not.
That's true.
So it's like
Yes.
sometimes they have to go to that extent of being harsh to be taken seriously. Whereas a man can just like a man boss can say something and that's what we're going
Yeah.
with. But if a
Yeah.
woman boss were to say it, it's like a different story. So sometimes I feel like that could lead to that type
Yeah.
That is
that's
so
true.
true because I feel like, you know, we always perceive women as being emotionally attached and all of that. And so in some way, we had to like push that part of us behind.
Okay.
And
yeah,
just
and then try to stamp your authority. Like, I'm the leader.
yes, like, you know, I'm the boss here,
Okay.
okay? And so just
Okay.
like men wouldn't have to, you know, go through all of that because we all know
it
that
comes
men,
naturally to
yes,
men, right?
they are
Okay.
not emotional, they are logical. So, in business, so yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, I agree with that.
Yeah.
That is true. But now let's get back to our previous
your wife.
question about you having a woman who earns some more money.
Okay, my
And
wife.
Yes.
Okay. My
More
future
money,
wife.
probably. Okay, you know what? Let me just.
I like how you said future wife.
Okay.
Your future wife. True. He's not taking yet. So if you're interested, maybe you can
Yo,
hit me up.
please.
Okay. You know, I'm doing some connection for you here,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
you know, one second. I want to. So let's just say, maybe your wife is actually in a leadership position over you, and at the same time making more money than you.
me.
So your wife being your leader, I mean your superior,
boss.
and at the same time making more money than you.
You want me to tell you the honest truth?
Go.
I want honesty here.
Do
To
it.
be honest,
Uh-huh.
that's my wish.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's my
okay.
wish.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why though?
Why though?
Uh-huh.
Society is causing women to take up more roles. So if a woman is going to make more than I am,
Uh-huh.
it means that she's going to support me more than I expected, isn't it?
But you know, think of it this way. So let's just say if your wife is a doctor, you know, doctors' duty calls. Every like all of you know
So
that.
she
And
doesn't
that
have
means
time for the home.
most of the
No, you're
time.
saying.
That's what I'm saying.
But I have more time for the home.
So let's just look at it in that way.
So pretty much I'm going to be the woman, isn't it?
That's
Okay.
that's not the
not
word
what
that
I'm
came
saying.
out.
That's
Okay.
not what
how
I'm
it
saying.
came
But
out.
if that's what you're saying, I'll take that.
No, I'm not taking it. That's not what
The fact is that the truth is that you married. You are using the doctor as an example, the wife doctor as an example. You knew she was a doctor before you got married to her. And like I said, that's my wish for a woman, marry a woman who makes a lot of money. I mean, so her being a doctor and being called upon every now and then for duties at work, I'm actually going to support her in that regard. Yeah, shouldn't be a problem at all at home.
So if that means taking care of the home, taking care of the kids,
Cooking.
and stuff like that.
Well, it's not going to be all the time. Not gonna.
I mean, it wouldn't be all the time, but there are a lot of times
Doctors
that even
are
at
really
night they
busy.
might not even be home because you know there's an emergency or something. They have to be on the phone and a lot of things like that. So, like, how would you personally feel about that kind of? Because honestly, like, I know you were being honest, but think of it in a practical way where you were in it and it's happening, and during the night your wife is not able to be at home with you.
I mean, we are humans. We are humans. It will get to a point where you might feel a bit frustrated and all that, but. Like I said, as humans as we are, again, we need to think and come to the realization that this is the reality. This is life we are living. So she has to work can't tell her to leave her job. She has to work. That's her profession. If there is anything we can do about it, we can do it. But as the situation stands, that's her job. There's nothing we can do. So I'm not gonna feel bad about it at all. If it requires of you to get someone to help at home, do that. Get someone to help her in the house, and then peace reigns at home.
You know, this is America. It's not very common like unlike Ghana where you can have people like, you know, a servant or something to be at home. So
well, the baseline is I'm unperturbed about it. That's my wife's profession.
Great.
She goes to work, I work, I come home earlier. If I have to do this, I do it. She comes home, she enjoys. That's it.
Good luck to that. See, I have great brothers, so you know,
so that's
hit me up.
Yeah.
I would say
I mean, society is changing. Back in the day, it wasn't like that. Back in the maybe if I were born in that generation, maybe I would have been that kind of man where I'd be like, stop that job. You need to stop that job. No, you just sit at home. Maybe I'm saying maybe if I were born in that generation, but society has caused this change.
Right.
So yeah, so that's my mentality now.
Yeah.
And I'm stuck to it.
And I think, you know, when you just say with that generation where, you know, they will be like, you stop it with that is where I think, you know, this feminist and all that thing come in, because then that's when the woman is going to start to be like, you know, I'm a career woman. So I feel like that's where, you know, all of those things kind of come in and brings that fight thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm unperturbed about it. No qualms at all.
I wanted to ask. So there are a few, we don't hear about it a lot, but there's a few situations where the woman makes a lot of money and the man stays home and takes care of the house. So the man is not working because she makes enough money that you don't need a job. You know, there's some situations like that. We don't hear about them, but there are situations like that. So how do you see that? What if you were in that position?
If I were in that, I wouldn't put myself in such a situation. You know, I'll feel bad about it. I wouldn't sit at home for my wife to work and me take care of the home.
Why do you feel like, you know, you are being like, why?
I mean, it even beats it. You are even trying to cheat nature in a sense in that way, because a man is supposed to work and feed the home. Isn't that what didn't God say that?
I mean,
but I'm saying in the sense that let's say the whole doctor thing. You knew she was a doctor when you married her, right? She's making a lot of money. I mean, but she's making a lot of money. So let's say somebody needs to take care of the kids. She's making a lot of money, and she asks, "Can you, you know, take care?" Let's say you're not even working, like you don't have a job or something like that.
I don't have a job.
Yeah, you don't have a job. I'm not wishing that on you, but I'm just saying you don't have a job. She's making a lot of money. Or like you're let's say you just finished school or something.
Okay.
Or like you haven't gotten a job yet, and she is the one that's working. She makes enough money that you can stay home, but you have to be the one that's taking care of the house, watching the kids, and all that stuff.
Also, you know, you want to think about
that. It's a very
dicey situation.
You want to think about the importance of, you know, having someone to be. It's not all the time that you really want, like both of you are just working people and your children are always.
I think that it depends on how the woman regards you. It depends on how she treats you. Yeah, like you said, in as much as I may not be working, she's working. Like you said, it's temporal, right? It's not permanent.
It could be temporary.
It could be temporary or it could be permanent. But depending on how she treats me, I might feel bad or not feel bad about it. You get it? Maybe she uses me as a quote unquote rag at home, and she does not regard me as a husband. She talks to me anyhow.
Quick question, just on that. Okay, so in what extent would you feel like? What are some of the things that your wife would do that will make you feel like, you know, he's using you as a rag or not?
What are some of the things she would do? The way she talks to you. Maybe you as a man will request something from your wife and she denies you. You know, as a husband, that's a very serious signal, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. So these are some of the things. Yeah.
Okay, okay, go on.
In as much as I'm not working, if I say something, I'm the man.
Okay.
If you have agreed to marry me, you knew I wasn't working, right?
Mm-hmm.
You agreed to marry me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still the man of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So if I say something, at least just give some consideration to that.
Mm.
Yeah. And then I'll feel good. But say it and she just brushes it aside, and you make a request, or you know, ask for something and then she denies you and all that. So that clearly is a red flag. Yeah. So yeah, like I was saying, it depends on how she treats you. You know, if she doesn't treat me that bad, I think fine. But in reality, as a man, I wouldn't sit down for my wife to be working for a very long time and then I'll be taking care of the home. No, I would have to do something.
So
about that.
you would rather it reverse though.
Yeah.
But you would rather want to be the man working
Working
and
and
having
the
a
wife.
woman stay
Yeah,
home.
if the worst case scenario, then I should work and my wife should stay at home.
But when
That's the
she's
question,
Even if
right?
even if she's making a lot of money.
Even if she's making a
Even
lot
if
of
she's
money.
making more than you would make.
No, then she will not sit at home. She will not sit at home.
Wow, that was great. That was great. First, I don't know if you have any, because our time is up. Do you have any concluding statement or anything last?
I just wanted to ask one last question. One last question. How do you feel, because it's getting more and more common these days that I've been seeing this, about a woman getting on one knee and proposing?
Woman getting what?
On one knee and
Oh,
proposing.
okay.
Like, would you marry me? To a man.
Hey.
How does that
How would I
work
feel
in your
about
head?
that?
Not even, well, okay, if I feel it, well, how would that work in your head? Like, even just thinking about that scenario, if it
Is
were
that
to happen,
acceptable
if
to
it were,
you?
yeah, if it were to happen to you, do you find that acceptable? Would you accept the proposal? Like, what do you think about that? Because society is changing, and the fact that women are now
that's
proposing.
true.
Yeah.
Society is changing, and I think this has actually been a discussion for some time now amongst friends, that guys keep saying, I mean, if a woman likes me, she should be able to say it too.
I feel like this should be a whole topic for
I don't know
next
if you
time.
guys,
I
this should be a
think the
whole
voicing
topic.
out of "I like you" and saying "Would you marry me" are two different things.
Well, society is changing, so I'm sure gradually it will become normal in society.
But do you think it should be, though?
Do I think it should be? Society will cause it.
Let's
just-
talk biblically.
We are
now.
just individuals
Let's talk
in society.
biblically now.
Now,
Biblically.
let's come back.
Biblically.
Let's come back. We are believers here. Okay, let's not forget about that. Okay.
Okay, so
and so
biblically.
with you, okay, now again, I'm being personal. And what times having this is supposed to be a topic that a whole topic for another day.
Yeah.
But just your little opinion about that. Do you think that should happen?
For a woman to propose to a man.
Yeah, believers.
To be honest, I've seen videos around and all that, but I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with that, to be honest. We've known from past that men are the ones who always propose marriage and all that, but now women are taking up the role. It's just like women now taking up leadership roles in corporate organizations and all that. So I don't see anything wrong, to be personal. I mean, to be honest.
I'm going to cut it off here. I think we're going to have a whole discussion. But personally, I think, the dog is supposed to go find the bone. Not the bone should, go searching for the dog. But we're going to have a whole discussion on that.
That is debatable, but we'll end it
We're going to have a whole discussion on that. Maybe
that
next
is
week.
debatable, yeah.
Maybe next week.
Come back.
Yeah.
Maybe next week. But, if you're watching, today's discussion has been amazing. Like, I've learned a lot. And it's just, I don't know about you, if you have questions, I hope you did send them. But anyway, so we're ending our discussion for today here. And I want to thank my co-hosts, Akosia, and our amazing guests for the day, Edward and myself. I'm Elizabeth. And I want to thank our producers. They've been amazing, supporting, and also our technicians. They're just incredible. And with this, I want to use this opportunity to thank our national head, Apostle Michael, and also our regional head of the Church of Pentecost, Apostle Augustus. And to the Church of Maryland District Assembly, Pastor Elvis Watson. Thank you so much for the support and the love, and we thank you. And we will see you back next week, Tuesday, again, we will continue this discussion, so make sure you don't miss it. Bring your questions and comments and everything back on. We'll see you again. And thank you for watching us. Thank you so much for watching us every single week. So we'll see you again.